when the Department of Transportation, FDOT, came in here, they, as you all remember, they tore up Dixie Highway, took all the parking off, street parking off, and their vision is just to move traffic. That's what Dixie Highway is all about, is to move traffic. We want pedestrian friendly. So what happened was, through the years, we kept hammering FDOT, and now finally in West Palm Beach they have a commission that's really, really strong in saying, look, we want action, and FDOT is starting to listen to them. One of the things they're really talking about is putting mediums in the streets to at least to get people across the street. Obviously you can't put traffic lights in the middle of the streets to get people to cross. So they're trying to put mediums there so at least they can stop halfway. Things like that to slow down traffic again, because it was always make it go as fast as you can. The bottom line, the line out of all those meetings, when there was maybe 10 people left in the meetings, was the city didn't have the money to do anything. Okay, so you can't expect a business association to have the money to do the things that are necessary to do. The first thing that I think what came out of it, the first thing that had to happen was market Dixie Highway. And there's a movement going out there, and I think Wes is involved in this, and I think Mary brought it up. Let's call it Heritage Highway. Let's market it as a destination, whether it be historic or not. It doesn't have to be historic. The mayor said, we talk about the bones of Lake Worth. Well, Dixie Highway is the backbone of Florida. You know, we have the ridge that goes down Florida, that's a topographical, but Dixie Highway is the backbone. That's why we exist. That's why all these cities in South Florida exist. We need to really market it so that people understand, hey, you can come to shop on Dixie Highway. You don't have to be afraid. We have one of the best organizations for crime fighting in the state, okay? You don't have to be afraid to come here. You have to want to come here. And we, as the city, needs to promote it. CRA, I know they don't have a whole lot of funding, but they can put banners up. There's all kinds of programs that you can come up with. One of them, I think one of the programs we came up with was the CRA would donate a planter, and the business owner would plant a tree. So they would have at least green space out there, so it kind of dressed up the city. Those low-hanging fruits are the things that you can really, really grab hold of. And people notice it. They'll really start taking. And when the DOT starts to see that you're strong and that you're really, really serious about this, they will come in and work with you. They have the money. They don't want to spend it, but they have the money.
They don't want to spend it. Since you mentioned marketing, I was going to bring this up later, but I'll mention this now. The CRA, this is the second printing, actually came up with the Lula Arts map. It's a walking map of the downtown and Dixie Highway. There's only 16 merchants on Dixie Highway so far, but it's actually going to be reprinted in January. It's $125 to participate in this. They're printing thousands and thousands of these. They go to the concierge, they're in the downtown shops, they can be in your shops, and it's a great marketing tool. For $125, you get in the map and you get on the Lula website. So this is something, if you're not participating in this, I highly encourage you as a small business owner. This was one thing that I fought for years, a complete walker's map, because in the past, if you weren't a member of the particular group, you didn't get in the map. This is actually, the first year, it had everyone free. It was a complete guide. And now it's a buy-in, and it's really just to pay for the programming through the Lula. So it's a great marketing tool. I encourage North Dixie to get into it more so than the downtown. Scott, let's move on to you. Can you talk a little bit about the utilities? Oh, did we have more questions? Oh, sorry.
On that subject, we've seen a number of our resale businesses in an uptick in the last 6 months.
Great.
Just among us business owners, prior, if I can just say, in my first dealings with the city, it was very dysfunctional. I knew I wanted to hear a song, but I kept hearing it in different octaves, and it was very confusing. Tonight, sounds like the symphony is on in a good way. So I'll give you all credit for that, because a lot has appeared to change over the last 2 years. Because when we were first open, we were more or less told, you're up at 12th and Dixie, and that's some kind of netherworld that we don't even know about. And I thought, well, my zip code is still the same, so, and we were left to our own devices to deal with whatever we had to deal with. And I'm glad that this is finally being acknowledged.
Well, forgive us for having to learn at your expense.
No, I thank you for it.
And it took us 2 years of cleaning up the process and identifying. Again, we came in as small business owners, and that's how we're running the city now. Based on what we know. As small business owners, we're taking a business approach. It was very dysfunctional.
Because it was a Hail Mary pass for us to invest thousands of
Absolutely.
more dollars into staying in our city,
For all of us.
you know.
You know, as a homeowner and a business owner here in the city.
On the subject of the CRA brochure, some of the newest resale businesses, we were considering banding together and making a leaflet flyer and rotating our staff to go down to Del Rey and pass out that flyer. We were gonna title it Lake Worth, Worth the Stop. Because like my friend Nettie, who's moved to West Palm, they just, boom, pass 6th Avenue, 10th Avenue, and get off at Forest Hill. And I'm like, the more business we attract, the more worthwhile we are for them to stop.
Well, and that's
So the idea
something.
of the heritage highway, you know, combine that and we could reignite more business and people to come through that way.
Absolutely. Well, this is a complete walker's map, and whether you buy into it or not, it's a great marketing
We'll
tool.
be buying into it, but what I need is to distribute it in other areas, like in
Ab-
Boca and in Delray and in
Absolutely.
Boynton.
And we do, I mean, we put this at the airport, we put it as many, and again,
Hotels.
the hotels. But also, as this group grows, one thing that we did for the downtown, each neighborhood association is unique to itself and has its own needs. North Dixie has its own needs. And as you grow, one thing that we used to do is do a flyer. And if we're going to brand it as a highway and market that, and then you as merchants buy into a brochure that you can print that really focuses on, you know, if you're gonna stay open late the last Friday of the month like Gooch does, and things like that, and do a flyer and then market yourself as a destination and maybe some special events and things, you know, you don't wanna just tell them who you are, you wanna really let them know what you're doing. And we're doing some things with First Impressions on advertising, where we're combining our dollars in the downtown to do some mass advertising. That's something that North Dixie might wanna do in some radio and in some television. And we find that if multiple people buy into it, there's more advertising dollars. So if we're marketing Lake Worth as a whole, as a destination, and then identifying different businesses and different stores, that's a great marketing tool.
But if you wanted to organize people, let's
I
say on your
would like to
block or the
coordinate
next 2 blocks or whatever, and
volunteers.
say, look, I need some materials. Come in, sit down with us, we'll make something up, you know, it'll be professional,
But
of
if we
course.
could
We'll help you
coordinate,
print it out, we'll help you market it, those are the things that I wanna hear sitting here tonight.
Think of how Antique Row was born. I mean, I remember living in West Palm when I
Yeah.
first arrived in Florida, and what it looked like before and what it looked like afterwards in Antique Row. Phil?
That's another thing, very true. What West Palm Beach has done through the meetings was develop nodes of Dixie Highway, and they're gonna market them as such. Antique Row has already been there, so that's one of the nodes they did. I think South Dixie Highway, they're gonna start looking at more of the arts or restaurants, and so on and so forth. So if you can start looking at what kind of businesses you want in the area, then you can designate, say, hey, I got a good spot for you because there's gonna be other businesses of like kind there. It draws people to that area. So-
but what I,
Exactly, well, going back to what, if I might, just one quick second, but what you were saying though, both of you were saying too, we said, what can you do now on it? When Joe mentioned, start working in clusters, so to speak, you know, let's say, okay, what can we do now? Or we know we have vintage, resale, consignment, you know, I mean, those are big things. How can we pull everybody together in regards to that? Where are they located in the
well,
areas?
as Emily can coordinate all these people on the spot to show up and clean up.
Mhm.
Why can't the businesses, through the help of the CRA, coordinate 2 or 3 people on a Saturday morning? We're gonna go to Delray and go on Atlantic and pass out our flyers, or we're gonna go to Boynton there at Federal, or Boca Raton at Meisner, and, reach rather than preach to the choir.
But we also have to be who we wanna be first, before we promote it. That's the key that everyone forgets. Because when we talk about window boxes, flowers, what does the front of your place look like? If you don't own, if you're renting, what is your landlord doing or not doing to keep your building looking good? What do you need to do? I mean, we need to create that product, and we can do it fast.
That's what I was gonna say, we
Yeah.
have to do something fast,
Yeah,
because
that can be done now. I mean, we went on a travel trip to somewhere, to an area that had a struggling downtown area, and they actually went so far as to put together a brochure to tell business owners what they could do, how they could build a planter box themselves if they didn't have the funds to buy it, how they could build one, how they could set it up, where they should put it, where the lighting needs to go, I mean, if we need to put that toolkit together, that might be something that we can do to show people, that, because we have to create that warm, inviting presence on it. We as a city, I know, Mr. Paladin, we talked about changing the trees that were planted by FDOT a long, long time ago, and making a nice approach to the city from the West Palm borders, and, there's just so many things that can be done very easily.
Madam Mayor, tell us what your day job is.
My day job, I own an advertising, marketing, and public relations.
Thank you.
One of the things to talk about now to get the businesses out there and to help maybe with the funding is, just like you have adopt a street, you can have adopt a section, and we can get corporations to adopt an area, the heritage highway, or whatever we want to call it, and kind of do it in segments, but to your point, figure out what it is, who the groupings are, and then we can go out as the chamber and market that, because there's always corporations looking to the philanthropic part of it. So we have a foundation, we can kind of say, you're gonna adopt this section, and we can do a ribbon cutting with this section, and it's all repainted, and new plants out there, and the funding can come from these companies that are.
You're hired.
Well, I'm just saying, these are.
Go do that.
Yeah, and that's what I will, that's what the chamber.
Mary, did you have a?
Yeah, what it sounds to me, and Gooch, you hit it right on the head, y'all need to get organized. You need to get organized. You don't know what kind of a merchants association you want it to be. Do you want it to be event? Do you want it to be promotion-based, event-based, advocacy-based? Y'all need to decide. I can tell you this, that when Merchant A from 12th Avenue and North Dixie calls the city, calls code, calls the chamber, calls the CRA because they have a problem, it has a certain impact. I promise you, when the Dixie Highway Merchants Association, once you all get formed, calls the city, calls the CRA, calls the chamber, calls the DCA, all of a sudden you're going to find out you're heard. You have a voice. Because you're going to find out what your common problems are, you're going to discover your common solutions. It is a piece of cake. That's what I do. This year we've organized 4 new neighborhood associations, gotten their articles of incorporation filed, gotten their bylaws, gotten their officers, they've had their first meetings, they've already had pineapple beaches going like a house afire. They've already had 3 cleanups down there, all among themselves. Y'all got to get organized. You got to decide among yourselves, tonight or at the next meeting, do you want to have a combined voice? Everything, all the work that the city and the planning department and the CRA have done has given us great resources to go to, but they're not resources for an individual. They're resources for a group, and this is a very worthwhile group. Dixie Highway Merchants Association is an idea whose time has come.
In tandem, we need to include the property owners too, because
Yeah.
one of the biggest challenges in Lake Worth is having the property owners who own many of the buildings abide by the rules and maintain their buildings and give them some encouragement that they invest in their building. Maybe the neighbor will invest in it, and there will be a ripple effect, and then better businesses will move in. You'll be more successful. And I think, Charlie, are you the only one who actually owns your building in the group? You
Bill,
own it?
it's out.
And you look at the 2 owners have some of the best buildings in Dixie
Yes,
Highway.
they did, yeah.
And we have a lot of absentee property owners who really don't give a
Well,
darn
I
if
know,
they're successful or
speaking
not.
for my landlord, if you ask him to do something, well, as long as he says you take care of it, because he got so disgusted with the city and the process of going through anything a couple years back, that he just let the building run down, and it was empty for quite a while when we rented it.
But that's,
And anything I've asked him, he goes like, if you can get the city, you can take care of it, get the city to do it, because he was so, and I kept trying to convince him it's changing.
Yeah.
well, that's the
But
thing
he
with
wants
code
to dump
enforcement.
his property because
Let's not
he's
get backwards.
so disgusted.
Well, that's the issue with code enforcement, that's another discussion that we need to
But
have,
I mean,
an
but
honest
he,
discussion.
I think some of the properties that haven't been taken care of maybe have been out of frustration, so if we could approach the owners, either as tenants or as somebody from the city, and let them know, it's not like, oh no, we're gonna just throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Well,
Well, they're gonna need to know, if I might, they're gonna need to know, we need to get to the owners of the buildings too, because we have a lot of absentee landlords, and some of the buildings are not in safe conditions, I would say. And one of the processes too, I know that when we talked about certain issues in the past, you know, we kind of adopted a worst first mentality towards addressing a lot of the issues. And, you know, I heard from business owners that have been in the community forever, that keep their buildings beautifully, that have no issues, and they're complaining because they're getting harassed by code enforcement for the numbers not being right in the right direction, or the this or the that. And meanwhile, you've got a building that's ready to fall down on itself and probably crash through the people that are running the business, or electrical fire, or God knows what. I mean, sometimes it scares the heck out of me sometimes. And they're not going after that. But they're calling you to tell you about your numbers or your this and that. So, you know, we've been trying to shift the whole focus here to a worse first. They're really life safety public, you know, issues that we have. I mean, some of these buildings though are just absolute, you know, I'm terrified with some of these buildings that are there. So that's why we're really making some very radical shifts in code enforcement. But I know a lot of you guys have gotten harassed in the past for minor things while the city crumbles.
David?
I like what you were saying about what can we do quickly to make it look more attractive.
Yeah.
And I was around, well, I've been around forever. I moved to Lake Worth in 1961, and 20 years ago, I think I gave Rodney Romano a plan to completely change the entrance into Lake Worth from the high school to US 1. Something I have experience in, changing entrances into cities. I designed the Okeechobee Boulevard where it is now. I designed every inch of it. I stole the dimensions from Royal Poinciana Way in Palm Beach because I thought that was lovely. And so now you see West Palm Beach having a chance to reach its full potential. So Dixie Highway, just a simple thing that maybe we could try to get behind is maybe do a planting. I was around when Ray Smith was around 20 years ago, and I was a buddy of his, and he had the idea to plant yellow tababuyas on Dixie. And it was a nice idea to do a treescape, and it would have nice flowers, and it's very important. Worth Avenue has coconut palm trees. That's one of the best streets in the county. Atlantic has coconut palm trees. I'd like to see if there's a way of coming up with a plan to plant coconut palm trees on both sides of Dixie Highway from 10th Avenue to West Palm Beach initially, just to make it look more pretty, more attractive, where the tropics begin or whatever. And I know there's a lot of problems with it, but maybe if we had one or two small things to focus on as a group, maybe we could make that happen. And anyway, it's just something I want to throw out there.
Okay, Gone, did you? I saw your hand up
You know, we talked about having a theme for Lake Worth, and I think that's important for us to have more of a significant theme so we can all be on the same page.
Like a mission statement, but
Well,
a
no,
tagline.
not only that, but you know,
Pick a project.
a bigger project kind of thing, so we can all have the same theme of colors and style and that sort of thing, and everybody's on the same page.
One thing that had come up with owners, we did actually spend time and identify all the owners on North Dixie Highway. We just got that information, so our thoughts were to send a letter to them all, inviting them to the next meeting. But what I'm hearing is we need to do something now. So what I'd like, before our next big meeting, I'd like to maybe take some of the thoughts. I know there's different painting projects and different organizations that will donate paint. Some maybe the potting some of the potted plants in front of businesses, some of the smaller ideas that can be initiated before season, and maybe we have everyone's information, maybe have a small group meeting of the merchants. Again, new merchants can come, but maybe have a smaller meeting just on some things we can do before season, and then invite the owners in for a larger meeting for the next time. Phil?
I would really like to encourage the CRA and city staff to approach FDOT. One of the issues in West Palm Beach was they wanted to plant trees as well down Dixie Highway, but FDOT fought it because of line of sight issues, and they had a million issues as to why they didn't want to do that. That's why we kind of came up with, you know, letting the businesses do something, but you really need to get on their back and start really pressuring them to see what they can do for us.
Well, we are talking to Department of Transportation, DOT, now for the downtown corridor from A Street to the water on some issues. And we do have a friend in West Palm Beach, Shannon Materio, our commissioner, Phil's wife, that is already talking. I think Commissioner Maxwell, you met with her and the mayor on issues in West Palm Beach. If somebody's looking at moving to Dixie Highway in West Palm Beach and it's not a true fit, she'll send them to us and maybe some cross-promotion with the chamber. So we are looking into that. I know, William, you probably have some challenges with changing the treescape on a DOT road. Like you said, start that conversation, but it will, that's something that I see taking a lot longer. Let's jump back now to Commissioner Maxwell. Something that can be done on a quicker and is being done, a little bit about utilities.
Utilities, one of my favorite subjects. How many of you noticed that your utility bills have gone up the last couple of years? Nobody's noticed your bills went up? Yeah? How many have noticed that your bills have actually gone down? Anybody?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, hallelujah. And the fact of the matter is, your electric utilities have come down for the last 3 years in a row, okay? And the baby steps, you know, the utilities have been very, very high for a very, very long time, and for a lot of wrong reasons. But this commission is committed to, you know, eliminating as many disincentives as possible.
I think to let people know that
Well, that's where I'm going with
in the
this.
general community
This
would
is
be
where I'm going
helpful
with
to,
this, you know,
make us look better.
That's
'Cause
the first
one
thing I hear
first
from
thing people
other,
say who don't live
other
here is
business
like,
owners in other cities is,
Perfect.
oh, you, oh,
how do you
yeah.
afford
Oh, you
utilities?
should go to West Palm, the utilities are way more
Exactly. I
reasonable.
get phone calls
First
every
thing I
day.
hear.
Every single day I get phone calls for folks looking to rent property, to buy property. And as soon as they find out it's Lake Worth, they find out it's Lake Worth Utilities, you can almost hear them. It's like, how long can it take them to click? I said, wait, there's a story, I can tell you, it's getting better. You know, one of the things that I hope that will ultimately come out of this gathering tonight, going forward, is that you'll come together, you'll start meeting on a regular basis, you'll start organizing yourself, as Mary mentioned, and everybody else has suggested. But we're all in this together, you know, and I think Mike said it well earlier tonight when he said, you know, we can provide the context for you all to be successful, but city government cannot provide you funding, okay, the capital, to do some of the things that maybe you'd like to do in your business, or, you know, some of the great ideas that you have, okay? So first and foremost, we have to understand that, but what we need to do is work together closely, and if we can agree that, on the facts are utility rates are coming down. The facts are you now have a set of rules as far as your LDRs are concerned, so everybody's getting the same treatment. The facts are the city staff is striving to be business friendly, it's striving to find a way to say yes to your plan as opposed to, well, you know, you can't really do that. Okay. Right, exactly. These are, so what we need everybody to do is to become ambassadors. You said it yourself, nobody knows that our electric rates have come down. Nobody knows that.
Well,
So
could we get a basic fact sheet that we could have
Sure.
at our businesses?
Right.
That when, like, we have a really good customer, he was thinking about moving his business, which is a bakery business, here, and he just totally freaked out about the utility rates and
Do you know we have economic incentive rates for new businesses that relocate
So,
here,
well,
by
and-
10 jobs
But
or
if I
more,
don't know
get
anything
FPL's
that's
rates
going
right.
on,
Exactly.
I can't give him the
And
information.
this is a challenge that we face with the
So
city.
maybe that's something we could get help,
And I
that is
harp on
something we
this-
could get help from the city
I harp
on,
on this
like a little,
constantly.
just a little, doesn't have to be real
It's not
detailed,
enough.
but,
Not enough for us to reduce the electric rates. It's more important for us to mess up the fact
I
that.
mean, and energy is a very big thing for him because of
Right.
the type of business he
I'm
has.
the president of all these kind of legal cities, and just this last month, we were given a presentation on utilities, that we're talking about some utility-related issues at the state level. And, now this is a body of all elected officials from the entire county. And after the presentation was done, how many know Mayor Stewart from, Dave Stewart from Lantana? Mayor Dave? You know, he's very bashful, okay? So at the end of the utility presentation, he had to give the old backhanded slap. He said, oh, we all know who's got the highest utilities in Palm Beach County. And I looked at Mayor Dave and I looked at the group, I said, thank you. I said, how many in this room know that the city of Lake Worth has reduced their electric rates 3 years in a row? Not one elected official in the entire county knew that the city of Lake Worth had reduced its electric rates. And I'll say to them, as I'll say it to you, I encourage you and I plead with you to please be ambassadors and tell everybody that you know. So not only have we done it for 3 years in a row, but we are committed by ordinance to achieve rate parity with whoever's, setting the market out there within 5 years. And we're well on our way to doing that. That's gonna happen. But we all know, it's like, in business, it's so much easier to keep a customer than it is to try to get one back that's left you. Okay? We in this city have created such a bad mess for ourselves as far as our perception of utilities and some other things for such a long time. And it is an ingrained belief system for many, many people. You hear Lake Worth, you automatically assume. We've got to start changing that. We've got to start talking to everybody, and we have to act like a broken record and repeat it over and over and over again. If you're happy, if you personally, as business owners, are feeling that, look, I've got a few more dollars to spend because of this, maybe you frame that discussion that way. So since these utility rates come down, I've been able to buy another piece of equipment, or I've been able to add another staff person, or I've been able to do some more marketing, or whatever. If there's been a benefit to you, frame it in that way and share it with your friends and share it with your neighbors. And I'll reach out to the city manager again and the commission and challenge ourselves. We have to start marketing that idea.
Testimonials on your website from people whose utilities have gone down.
But we've become a self-fulfilling prophecy, if you think about it. You tell somebody that, it's like a parent and a child or a pet. You tell somebody long enough that you're no good, that you're worthless, you're this, you're that, you're that, you're that. I mean, you say these things over and over again, and the power of words are very strong. I mean, that's my business. I'm in marketing and public relations. I wish we had a giant advertising budget for the city, to tell and tout our wonderful things. That's why I laugh before, because I said some of the bad things. But when I leave here and go somewhere, I'm always, oh yeah, we're doing that, we're doing this, you gotta see, you have to see this, you have to see that. That's why they call me the biggest cheerleader for the city, because, it's just so exciting that we have all of this going on. And we didn't just, these things happen because of neglect. Most of our issues happen because of severe neglect, really. And now we have this opportunity really to turn things around, because there is no other city or town nearby that has the resources